Thirdly, after budget season is over, it's never over. After the official budget season is over, I'd like to see us have some kind of workshop on the impact fees that we charge, partly to evaluate them. Are they fair for the times that we're in? Are we stimulating the economy, or at the same time giving proper incentive by not overcharging, and at the same time making sure that we can sustain our community? I think we all have a lot of questions about that. That's certainly something worth discussing, especially as it relates to economic development. And lastly, I met with the auditor last week in reviewing the CAFR, and maybe I'm just the new guy on council, and I wasn't fully satisfied with his discussion on page 225 about the fire pension fund rollover. He mentioned the possible need for maybe that being investigated further by us. I don't know exactly what we need to do, but I certainly would like to see some answers about that. I have no idea if we have missing money, and if so, how much. Is it just a matter of an accounting error? But certainly, I remember last year the council had him come and speak. I don't know whether that was by invitation or something he does every year, but I think
he's here on the 19th.
Okay, but I certainly think that's where we need to start. But I like I said, maybe I'm the new guy, but I don't feel good having that just hang out there. I'd like some more solid answers.
Yeah, so would we.
And I have notified the plant administrator already to do some kind of investigation. Last week, after I met with the auditor also, I notified Sheila Hutchison, the plant administrator, for her to start doing some investigation. In fact, I sent her the email that was sent to me from the auditor as a follow-up after my meeting with the auditor. And I highlighted a couple.
I appreciate that, because what scared me is he couldn't even tell me how much or how little it was.
Right. So hopefully we're going to get some information back. I've already forwarded that anyway, so we'll see where that's going.
And I will use the word fear.
Right.
Okay. And what is unusual about that is that when we went through and back to them for the confirmation, and we asked them for the type of letter that the auditor wanted, the investment person would not provide that type of letter that we had requested.
And I think that relates to something we discussed last meeting also, after meeting the actuaries, that we need to hold our investment people accountable for, we beat up on the actuaries, but they do a lot of the work for me.
Let me just kind of make sure that we're on record that the 175, 185 plans, their boards are totally independent. They show up in your financials. They give you the bill, but their fiduciary responsibility by statute rests with that board. And that is what is so scary about that particular item. And a number of us that have been involved with trying to get some pension changes, that change really occurred several years ago, when the legislature changed how the boards would be composed, all of those items, so that is an item as we are now moving forward, you need to be watching. But at the same time, the city's representative, and I'm glad to hear that that's going forward from the fire side, is that you need to be asking those questions, because those are the questions that we've asked, and they have not provided the type of information, and I'm just talking about from the finance director's standpoint, from the manager's standpoint, and from the auditor's standpoint, that has satisfied us about what occurred in the revaluation.
And I think just because the fiduciary responsibility is somewhere else, that doesn't satisfy the taxpayers at all.
Absolutely.
It certainly doesn't satisfy me, and I'm going to continue to ask the questions.
It needs to be.
The fact that we're moving towards an actuary to work for the city, I'd hate to spend additional money on another auditor, basically, but this is such a complex issue and so many dollars that we really need somebody that can take the time to really put those numbers together and be responsible to us. Because as you said, the actuaries for the police and fire, they're responsible to those boards, and we can't really get a whole lot of information out of it.
And that's what we've been consistent in trying to inform this council, is that there are, basically, we have to almost, so we're doing public records request because of how the statute is structured. And that is part of the structural problem. And it shows up in our financials. And we concur with you, Councilman Burnett, that needs to be resolved, and that they have not provided the letters that the auditors have requested, that we have requested. Their letter falls far short of a good explanation. Now, it may be, the thing that we need to do is probably bring their investment people here. Now, but that still would not necessarily provide you with that letter of comfort, even though how he may explain it. Because I can tell you the letter that Alex Kish looked at and the one that John looked at from a CPA standpoint did not meet that standard, in their opinion.
And I appreciate the fact that Alex was very candid with me in my briefing about that. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't minimize it. He didn't say the house is on fire either, but he absolutely made sure that we were aware of it. So,
and it should be.
And on that point, Don, you're absolutely right, because either way an error was made. And we're talking, the number he gave me was a potential of $700,000.
absolutely.
Now the problem is, if the error was they overvalued it, we're acting as if it's worth $700,000 more than it, so we're making decisions based on wrong evaluations. If it suddenly disappeared, the $700,000, that's of course something we need to look into. So that's
We have to find a way to hold these people accountable. Accountability.
You good, Don?
I am.
Chief?
Okay, I have another auditing